Hello, everybody. So I thought I'd finish this John Dupee, chat log. Yeah, I thought that it'd be fun to finish because at the end of the last one, if you remember, the cops were getting a bit pissed off with him, and they just wanted him to confess, and he wasn't really. He's just not budging, basically, as a lot of them do. Some of them just basically give in, and but some cling to that, that inability to accept responsibility. But of course, it's not always as simple as that. Some of them just, it's like I said before, they think that by denying it that there will be a chance that they'll get off with it. He knows he's guilty. They know he's guilty. It's a strange situation if you think about it. Each person in that room knows the truth, but one of them was lying, and the other two are trying to get him to admit the truth. So they're all looking at it from the same perspective, really. But it's just a play, isn't it? It's just the battle in the legal system. But obviously, that silly fucker doesn't really understand it, and it's very frustrating, isn't it? Especially with something as serious as this. I can understand why the cops are getting pissed off. As you would do. Shall we crack on?
To do what? No, not to show much ball hammer. To eventually have sex with her.
You were hugging her within the first minute you were in the house. You're trying to hug her. You're pushing yourself on her right in front of us. She didn't want to hug you. She didn't do anything to indicate she wanted a hug from you. You went at her.
Someone put a comment in the last video and said they wasn't sure why it's a big deal that that they sort of go down this road of because they mentioned it earlier. Is you went to hug her. Why that's such a big deal? And I kind of put a reply on and said I think that it's quite important, and that person eventually agreed. But of course. It goes a long way, doesn't it? If you're a 40-year-old bloke and let's just say that you're there for purely, which is ridiculous. There's no reason, even just being there is enough. Why would a 40-year-old bloke, go there to meet a 13-year-old? It's very. Do you know like the old? Do you know? I was going to get into the Michael Jackson thing then, but I'm not even going to go there because never mind. But it's like there's no reason for a bloke of that age to engage at all with a kid. It's like I was, dipping. I've reluctantly, I have to admit, I've been listening to some of the streams that Clobbering Times be doing. How can you not do? I don't. It's like I've said many, many times before. I think ongoing relationship with a creature like Lorne is very dangerous for many aspects, but of course it's very intriguing to listen to, and I think in one of the clips I can't remember where it was, but that Tiffany is like Lorne was trying to say, I was trying to be a friend and all this. It's like, well, why? You've got no reason to engage at all with a 13-year-old girl. If you was in a chat room and you were speaking to them, you saw like a 13-year-old member of the opposite sex, you wouldn't speak to them at all. If you were an adult, you'd have nothing in common with them, nothing to speak to them about. And that bullshit about, I felt sorry for them, I needed someone to talk to, I wanted to make sure that they felt that someone was paying them attention so they didn't feel sad. What a load of bollocks. You know what I mean? Because what you're going to do, you're going to go around to every 13-year-old in the country who's feeling lonely and because your task would never end. That's just horse shit. And it's like, why even be there? That's what's so frustrating for these guys, isn't it? Why even be there? And he's still not saying he'd do anything sexual. You're just going to You're just going to hang around and what? Like, speak to her about her favourite rock bands? I mean, if you remember the chat log, they had a bit of a rapport going, to be fair. It's pretty sad. Well, of course it's sad, but... you know, what possible... You know, why would you... You just wouldn't form a relationship with anybody, even like a boy of that age.
You even realize that?
Well, I think we should ask her for a hug.
Right, but you're getting physical, and you're trying to tell us, no, I was going to...
And sorry, I don't think I expanded on the point of why. I don't want to patronise anybody, but like someone did ask the question of, you know, why is it important that they're trying to go down that route? It's a physically intimate thing. You know, a hug with someone willingly. It's a human bonding ritual in a way. It's very intimate. You know, as intimate as you can get, really, without you know, without getting sexual. If you think about it, I mean, there's no sexual element to hugging per se. I hug some of my male friends. You know, it happens. You know, we all do it, don't you? You know, when you've had a few drinks, I love you, mate. You know, when you've had a few drinks and all that bullshit. But it's still, you feel comfortable in that situation. You feel that connection with someone. You'd have to feel very comfortable with someone to do that. And also, he's there. He knows it's illegal. He mentioned it in the chat. She's underage. He's old enough to be a dad, and he's going in for the hug straight away. I think that massively improves his intent. It proves his intent even more. Not that I personally don't think they need that, but it's certainly not going to do them any harm. I'm sure if Shins Koala's listening, have it with his, you know, he's got more sort of expertise than me, obviously, in that field. Would, you know, in a sort of court situation, if he pled not guilty, would that hug make any difference? I suppose it'd make it easier for the prosecution to make the case, and that, you know, the defence would be struggling a lot. Well, you'd be fucked, wouldn't you?
Anything else? I just want to hang out and watch the football game. Well, you were getting physical with her in the first 60 seconds you were in the house.
No, I was just saying, like, hello, you know, like a hello
She's
hug.
a little baby. She's a 13-year-old little girl. Who does that? And talks about sex with her like that. After even seeing a picture of her. She's a little girl. Do you see that in the pictures? Do you see she's a little girl?
I like the way she's doing that, you know. Do you see that she's a little girl? And I think that, like, in one of the clips I've heard as well, with I'm going to mention it. You know, I think most people listen to it. Some of the clips that Tiffany's, when she's been speaking to Lorne, and you know, she's fantastic. And she mentioned in one of them that I heard, she referred to Kayla as a little baby, which when I first heard it, I was like, you know what, I'm not too sure if that's the right way to go about it. But I actually agree with it now, because that person is, for all intensive purposes, opposed, you know, compared to a middle-aged bloke, is a fucking baby. You've got no right to do that. You no fucking right whatsoever. It fucking, God, it's making me mad. But what she's doing, you know, little girl, look at his head. You know, he's downbeat, isn't he? He's curling up again. He's covering his face up. He's cringing. So he's like a cowering little animal in the corner who's waiting to be beaten. And that's his mental position. He's being faced with the reality of what he's done. And he's really struggling.
Does that look like a football, buddy?
See, it's just... What are you going to say with that? She's saying, little girl. It's a little girl that you've tried to seduce. A child. What the fuck have you got to say for yourself?
I have football buddies, but they're usually guys that are at the bar.
Oh, I'm kind of liking this bit now. Look at it here now. This is a great point in the interview. he's leaning forwards. She's showing him the photos. I just heard a sniffle from him. He's covering his face. He's at his lowest point now. They've tried the nice approach. Well, I said the nice approach, the soft and the gentle. You know, she's sort of used her female powers to try and entice him into. Well, it's not even enticement. Entice him into confessing, because you know you can't entice someone to tell the truth, can you? I think that'd be ridiculous. But I like that. What we're seeing now, you know, both leaning. You know, he's leaning forward. She's offering the photographs. He's got his head in his hands. It's a pivotal moment. If he doesn't finally admit what he was going to do at this point, and I don't know because I'm watching this for the first time, then he's never going to do that, is he? And you know, let's pause. What do you think? I'm going to stick my neck out and say, do you know what? I think he might cough to it. I think he's going to be a little bit too weak-minded to continue, but I might be wrong.
John, listen. You need to admit.
He's not denied it, at least. He can't even bring himself at that point, which is a bit of a step. It's not a step with regard to what they need from him. Evidentially, you know, they want a confession and then it's so much easier, but he's not denied it, has he? So they're starting to break him down.
Admit things that you did to yourself and to us so that you can get on with your life. By sitting here and bullshitting us, which we're not believing, obviously, that you're there to watch a football game is crap. So if you want any chance of making a phone call and getting out of here tonight, tell us why you were really there, and then we'll get on with it.
Oh, that's a bit naughty. I understand why he's doing it, but like, oh, if you want any chance of getting out of here tonight, it's like he's not getting out of here tonight, regardless of what he fucking says. I don't think. You know, he's kind of. I mean, do you get what I mean? He's using ulterior motives. Not ulterior motives. He's using a different tactic now, isn't he? He's not. He wasn't going down the. We got the truth on our side. He's trying to basically lie a little bit to get him. I don't think there's any way that him coughing to it is going to make him get out that night.
I told you, I wasn't going to have sex with her.
Oh, no. That was wrong. I admit it. His tactics hasn't worked.
So you were lying in the text messages?
Good question.
What?
Were you lying to her in the text messages then?
I didn't plan on doing anything with her.
Why did you text her those things?
You know what I think? I think he's inadequate. He couldn't have sex with her. You know, he didn't want to have sex with a 13-year-old because he couldn't have sex with a 13-year-old because she's afraid that she would probably show him what to do. And that wouldn't make him feel very well about himself. Probably make him feel worse. Is that the deal?
I don't understand.
Wouldn't make him feel very well.
I've got a minute.
You know, he didn't want to have sex with her.
I didn't plan on doing anything with her.
Why did you text her those things?
You know what I think? I think he's inadequate. He couldn't have sex with her. You know, he didn't want to have sex with a 13-year-old because he couldn't have sex with a 13-year-old because she's afraid that she would probably show him what to do. And that wouldn't make him feel very well about himself. Probably make him feel worse. Is that the deal?
I don't really understand what he's saying there. You're going to have to forgive me. He's saying, I don't think he could have sex with her because he's too scared because he's inadequate, he can't perform or whatever. I don't understand.
I wasn't going to have sex with her. I don't even know why I said those things.
I don't understand what his tactic was there, really. I don't really understand that. It was just... I don't get it. He's just... If I were them, I'd just give up at this point. See, you know, he's obviously he's gone. You know, he's not leaning forward. He knows he's not going to get what he wants. He's pissed off now.
Well, you got yourself in a bad situation, and
even she's kind of like put the thingies away, the documentation, so she's kind of...
Like, the only way I can figure out is that you're going to get any kind of, like, funneling toward help versus being hammered, is if you can take responsibility for why you were there.
Tell that to Alarm.
And admit you have a problem. And then people can start helping. Because you say all these things by text behind the computer screen, where you put your body right there. And then now you say, oh no, I wasn't really going to do it, I just want to hang out.
Do I have a bond?
You probably have a bond. You have criminal history too, right? Yes, criminal history.
You got a pending case. How were you out on your other case?
I can't really get a PTA.
How were you out on your other case? Were you out on a PTA or a bond?
A real estate bond.
Well, either way, it was part of the condition of your bond. What is the condition of bond? That you don't get arrested. Right? When you're out on bond, you sign a form that says, I will not get in trouble, I will not get arrested, correct?
I've never been in trouble before besides that, so I don't
But
know.
that's not the question. When you sign a bond to get out, you're signing that you will not get in trouble while you're out on bond. Yet here you are, getting arrested. So how can we let you out on a PTA when the bond says you shouldn't commit a crime? Plus, like Beth said, you want help, there's one avenue. You don't, you can't help people that don't want to help. So that's what we're trying to tell you. If you want to help yourself, we'll get you the help. We'll write it in a report, and when it goes to court, we can get you the help.
So we're saying it goes better for him to get out at an earlier time if he confesses to it. I don't understand how that would be the case.
That, drug cases, this case, North Avenue is in your future. Is it going to be counseling or North Avenue? You decide.
What's my bond?
So we'll decide that ourselves, won't we? What would you like your bond to be?
Whose real estate bond is that? Your sister? Noah?
Well, what was it? How much?
140,000.
I don't like seeing any people in pain, but is he self-imposed and for the most horrible of circumstances? So F you know what I mean?
The marijuana charge?
No, that was sales.
Is there anything else you want to tell us? Anything else? What does your tattoo say? Everything happens for a reason.
I think I remember this from the original segment on Hansen versus Predator, or whatever it was. Everything happens for a reason. Well, never have those words been more apt than right now.
Tell us what this reason is.
That's where you go. I'm not that guy.
But you haven't convinced us that you're not. Until you say something to convince us. That's all we have to go on.
You said all those things, and we came to your door and knocked on your door and said, you're a bad guy because of the way you were talking to this girl. You saying I would never have done anything with her, I never would have done anything I said, that's more believable because we're at your house. You never took the actual moves of coming to the 13-year-old. But you made a plan and you executed it to come to...
Yeah, of course, well put. You know, if he just stayed at home and not decided against it at the last minute, did have an hard chance proving he was going to do anything. But he's turned up to go and went in for the hug.
See this girl knowing she was alone, knowing her age, knowing what she looked like, and knowing you discussed having sex with her and teaching her. –
What do you think? What do you think? Is it going to crack? We've got 1 minute 27 left.
Anything else you want to know, John?
Just please help me so I can get out of here. Now my mom and my son want me to find out about them.
Stand up. Stand up and turn around. And behind your back. My keys again.
I'll take them like that. It's
I'll just double up and squeeze.
It's quite satisfying, isn't it, to see him cuff like that, isn't it?
Alright, John, come on. We'll get upstairs.
I couldn't hear exactly everything he said in that last little rant. Then let me go back.
Just please help me so I can get out of here. Now my mom and my son want me to find out about them.
Well, all we need to know is it wasn't a confession. So there we go. It's been quite an interesting interview, hasn't it? I think. You know, we know from this that he's a pathetic character. But obviously, you know, that goes without saying, doesn't it? But at least, you know, it's sort of the way he is. He's like a coward as well, isn't he? He's like a coward, a massive coward. That's certainly the case. Yeah, just not someone you'd certainly want as a friend, is he? Let's put it that way. But anyway, so okay, so there we are. There's the end of the interview. I hope you've enjoyed it. This one wasn't going to be as long because we got through the majority of it in parts 1 and 2. But I hope you've enjoyed it. Can you let me know about any comments? On the Hansen V Predators channel, Chris Hansen's channel, he's going to release, if he's not already, because I've not checked in a while, been a bit busy, is the full interview with Chris Hansen, with this guy. He's going to be on there soon. So I would imagine I'll be able to go over that without getting any copyright strikes. So I plan to do that soon. So that'll be pretty good. Also, I have been told by a few people that the Vincent Ambrosia interview is very good. I'm going to look into that and maybe cover that. I just, you know, like I said, when I've got the time, you know, I'd like to do more of these videos, but, you know, it's difficult to get the time, really. But anyway, enough of me waffling on. Thank you very much for listening. Please leave any comments and a like and subscribe if you've not already. I never say that, do I? And I'll speak to you soon.